Today, I want to talk to you about something that I feel has become the forefront for many betrayed spouses, but yet unfaithful as well. And I consider myself a student of recovery. I'm always trying to gain that extra edge to help myself communicate better with you. I'm always trying to learn more about recovery from infidelity. Someone asked me the other day, Samuel, you use that word recovery, so am I always going to be in recovery the rest of my life? He was pretty upset, and he said, so, yeah, I had an affair, blah, blah, blah. Am I always going to be in recovery? I'm not a sex addict, and, I did this and this, but does that mean I'm always going to be in recovery? And I said, well, here's the thing. I never want to go back to the person that I was, legitimately. I don't ever want to go back there. So I'm in recovery from who I was, and I live this way out of humility, and I live this way out of a desire to stay healthy, stay clean, and stay true to the principles that I've founded my life upon for the past 12, 13 years. So yeah, I guess I'm always going to be in recovery because I never want to go back there. That's between you and your belief system and how you want to live, but I don't know. I don't know if you're always going to be in recovery. That's for you to decide. What I do know is that I want to continue to progress and stay as far away from the old Samuel as I can. So getting back to the point at hand, I think if there's one struggle that so many of you have identified lately is that I can't help longing for what we used to have. Like I can't let go of what we used to have as a family, as a couple, as a marriage. I'm longing for what we had. How do I get through this incredibly difficult season where I keep, even though, and many of you will admit to this, is that even though you might be a betrayed spouse and you can look back and see that, wow, during those critical moments of our life and family, he or she was having an affair. It devastates you. But in very raw, humble moments, you still can long for that because at some level you were ignorant of what was going on, and at some level ignorance is bliss. And so that joy, that feeling, that elation that you were having at the birth of a child or the graduation of a child or something monumental in your own life or all these different moments, although they're tarnished, there is a very humble, very innocent longing inside of you to look back upon that and wish for those days because at that time you were unaware of the trauma that is now at the forefront of your life. And it's a very delicate part of your soul. Some of you might be the exact opposite and say, I'm not longing for that at all because now I realize what was really going on, so all of those moments have been completely tarnished forever. I would caution you. So Samantha and I have been married close to 23 years. We've been in recovery in the neighborhood of 12 or 13. There's lots of wonderful moments that happened in our life, and yet I was in the middle of my affair during those 2 years. I will tell you it took a lot of time and a lot of work, but we can still celebrate some of those moments. The birth of children, some wonderful times as children. We've done a lot of repair work. For us, we are able to still look back, as can Samantha, look back and appreciate those moments. It's tough. It took some time. Early on, that wasn't the case. But we got there. And I think you can too. It's very normal to long for what you had, even though it may have been tarnished. One of the best things that you can do is really commit to building the new. Now, you won't be able to commit to building the new until you can mourn and grieve for what you've lost. So there is this really difficult phase where you are able to kind of push through and grieve and mourn for the loss of some of these memories and these cherished events. And it does take time and it does take work, but you can get through that. And once you start to gain momentum, and one of the ways that you can help build momentum in your life is to start to build the new. Now, I want to give you a quick disclaimer. This is not a quasi-pseudo way of saying get over it. This is not a quasi-pseudo way of saying just move on, it's over, stop thinking about it. Not at all. This is just a helpful step that everybody in your situation and mine is going to have to do, and that is working on building the new. There comes a point where you have to say, okay, I know enough to heal, I know enough to work on forgiveness and mourning and grieving, and now I'm going to start to build the new season in our lives. And that could mean new hobbies. That can mean, if you have the capability financially, traveling, getting away, building new memories, building new anniversaries, building new forms of momentum. As you work deliberately and as you are intentional to build the new seasons, the new monuments, the new memories, the new celebrations, the new momentum of your life, it's going to give you a bit of a turbo to help you heal from grieving for what you've lost. It's going to be able to help you gain new momentum to not continue to long for what you had, but to get on this journey of radical acceptance where you start to really build a new season, a new momentum, a new celebratory season of your life to say, I'm not where I was, and unfortunately, I'm not where I want to be one day, but at least I'm gaining momentum. I will tell you, anytime you build the new, you're going to have to let go of the old. There may be a season where you have to cut out some people from your life. Samantha had to cut out a few friends. They loved Samantha. They were loyal to Samantha, but they constantly would chip away at me. They would constantly eradicate a lot of momentum that we were building. They would question me, well, how can you do this? And how can you just forgive them? And are you sure? Are you sure? And what abouts? You know, the are you sures and the what abouts and the yeah buts. It finally came to the point where Samantha had to say, look, I'm building my marriage and I can't have your voice in my life. So either you stop all of this completely and just support me and be my friend, or we're going to take some time away. And every one of them said, okay, I can do that. And every one of them, Samantha had to say, okay, we're taking a break. And it was probably, for some it was a year, for others it was a couple of years. But it had to be done to build the new, because if you don't make some changes, you're not going to be able to really build a strong newness to your life. Now, this is true if you're saving your marriage or relationship or if you're divorcing. Because if you're divorcing, you still have to really put time in to build the new life that you are going to pursue. Whether it be new life as a divorced or separated individual or new life as a marriage or relationship. Building the new is one of the toughest but yet one of the most rewarding things that you can do. It may mean finding new places that you go to that are not reminders or triggers. It's new restaurants, right? Maybe new schools, maybe new jobs. But it's going to have to require a shift. If you stay stuck in well, I shouldn't have to find a new restaurant. I shouldn't have to do all these things. I get it, I understand it, but it won't work. It's not going to help you build the new. You're probably still going to have to work on grieving, mourning, and forgiving to get to the point where you can say, okay, I accept where I am at, or I accept where we are at, or I accept where our family is at. We're going to build the new, and we're going to be intentional, and we're going to be warriors at this. It's going to have to happen, and it clicked for us. It took a good, probably close to a year, but then there was this point where Samantha really got on board too, and she was like, you know what, we do need to build the new. So we celebrated new anniversaries. We went to new restaurants that, we were in Austin, Texas, so everything was new. And there was an intentionality to say, look, we're not going to keep longing for what we had. We're going to build the new. And it was one of the most powerful, impacting decisions that we made.